60 seconds ago, a bacterium invaded your body. It has already divided, it has already tried to spread, and it has already lost completely without you feeling absolutely anything. If an entire war can begin and end in your body before you even notice, imagine how many of these battles you have already won today without knowing. Subscribe now to Celsius TV. The next invisible war is one video away. This is not an exaggeration. It's biology happening in real time, faster than you can pay attention. And the most impressive thing isn't that your body won. It's how it did it in less time than it took you to read these two sentences. Every war begins with an open door that shouldn't be open. It could be a tiny cut on the skin. It could be an inhaled particle that made it past the barrier of your nose. It could be a mucosal surface, mouth, eyes, throat, where millions of bacteria and viruses bump into every day, waiting for a chance. And here is what most people don't know. Your body doesn't wait to identify the invader to react. The instant a cell is damaged, ruptured, cut, invaded, it releases an immediate chemical signal. It's not "I discovered a bacterium," it's "something here is wrong." This signal doesn't depend on recognizing the enemy. It depends only on detecting the breach, and it is exactly this difference that makes the response so much faster than any blood test could ever be. And this signal, once released, spreads faster than any cell in your body can move because it doesn't walk. It diffuses. Imagine screaming for help in a dark room, not knowing where anyone is. And yet, help arriving in seconds. That's basically what happens inside you. Damaged cells release molecules called cytokines, chemical messengers that spread through the tissue by simple diffusion. They don't look for help. They simply spread in all directions, creating a gradient, more concentrated near the wound, weaker as they move away. This gradient is the map. Any defense cell passing nearby can feel from which direction the signal is coming the strongest, and follow this trail to the origin, like following a scent to the source. The most impressive part is the speed. This alarm spreads in milliseconds. Long before any defense cell physically arrives at the scene, the alarm has already notified an area much larger than the wound itself. And it is precisely by following this trail that your body's first army is already on its way. And it is faster than you imagine. If your body had an elite army ready for blitzkrieg, it would be called the neutrophil. Neutrophils are the most numerous defense cells in your blood, billions circulating all the time, just waiting for the right chemical signal. When the cytokine alarm spreads, they do something that seems counterintuitive. They leave the bloodstream, cross the walls of their own vessels, and swim through the tissue, following the chemical trail right to the origin. This doesn't take minutes, it takes seconds. Neutrophils are, literally, the fastest response that exists in your body, designed to arrive before the invader has time to multiply enough to cause any noticeable damage, and they don't come alone. They come by the thousands, all at once, forming a first barrier that most infections never manage to cross. Except getting to the scene isn't enough. Now they need to prevent the enemy from escaping. And that's when the war turns into a real siege. A single successful invader can multiply exponentially. One bacterium turns into two turn into 4, and in a few hours you would have millions. So speed isn't just about attacking. It's about preventing this multiplication from spinning out of control before the body can react. That's why neutrophils don't attack in a disorganized way. They position themselves around the infected area, literally forming a physical siege, blocking escape routes through blood vessels and surrounding tissue. Some of these cells go further. They release nets of fibers, like an extracellular web, that physically trap the invader in place, preventing it from spreading to other areas while the rest of the army finishes arriving. The result is a containment zone formed in seconds. The invader might even be multiplying inside, but it has nowhere to go. And it is inside this siege that the most brutal part of the war finally happens. The physical elimination of the enemy. Here is the part of the war that most people never imagined happening inside them. Your body literally swallows the enemy alive. The process is called phagocytosis. The neutrophil approaches the invader, completely surrounds it with its own cell membrane, and pulls it inside itself, forming a sort of internal pouch with the bacterium or virus trapped inside. Once captured, the cell releases a mixture of acidic enzymes and toxic compounds into this pouch, a chemical destruction chamber custom-built to dissolve the invader from the inside. In seconds, the enemy's structure is disintegrated, and the neutrophil doesn't do this just once. Each cell can engulf and destroy multiple invaders before exhausting its own capacity, functioning almost like a disposable war machine, programmed to spend everything it has on a single mission. But after the enemy dies, a problem remains. The entire battlefield needs to disappear without leaving a trace. Every real war leaves debris. Yours does too. Only you will never see any of it. After the elimination, the battlefield is full of remains, fragments of the destroyed invader, neutrophils that have spent all their capacity and are now inactive, and chemical residues from the immune response itself. If nothing were done, this area would become inflamed and toxic. This is where a second type of cell comes in. Macrophages. Literally, big eaters. They arrive after the neutrophils and do the cleanup, engulfing the remains from both sides of the war. Nothing is wasted. Proteins and other compounds are recycled by the body itself to be used again. What is left of the initial inflammation is drained by the lymphatic system, being processed and eliminated silently without generating any noticeable symptoms. 60 seconds after the first alarm, no trace is left, no mark, no pain. Just a body that once again has won an entire war without you noticing a thing. And this wasn't a rare event. This is happening to you right now, several times a day. Until the day it stops happening, this war you just learned about is not an exception. It is routine. Your body wages and wins dozens of these battles every day. In tiny entryways, with invaders you will never even know existed, resolved before they ever become a symptom. 60 seconds. Alarm, army, siege, elimination, cleanup. Every time, but this system is not infallible. It relies on speed, and anything that delays this response changes everything. Poor sleep, chronic stress, malnutrition, advanced age. Each of these factors slows down the alarm, reduces the number of available soldiers, or delays the siege. And when the response is delayed, the invader gains the time it needs to multiply beyond the point of control. That's when the invisible war turns into a symptom, turns into a fever, turns into a real infection. The question is not whether your body is at war. It is right now, probably more than once. The real question is, what is making this army slower than it should be? This is just one of the wars your body wages non-stop. Every week, Cell Siege TV shows you the next one. Subscribe now, because the next war is already about to begin.